It's time for the League LowDown!
CDS Wealth Management is a proud sponsor of the League LowDown.
Welcome back, Insiders. Coming in hot with this week's Suburban One T. I'm Coach Mayhem, and back to ring the bell this week is your favorite schoolmaster, Suburban One Insiders, OG.
Hey, Insiders. Good to be back.
First up this week, OG, is our Week 2 weekly rundown.
Heck yeah, let's get into this.
All right. Well, Abington Ghosts galloped into Harry S. Truman, and man, they came out victorious, 42-7. Quarterback Miles Yakis threw for 220 yards and 4 touchdowns. 3 of those 4 went to wideout Aiden Turner, who hauled in 3 catches for 141 yards and 3 scores. Yep, OG, that's right. 3 catches, 3 touchdowns. Penridge won a back-and-forth affair over Ben Salem, 36-33. The team was without their star linebacker and running back Ryan Rowe, but they did get the job done. Noah Keating threw for 154 yards and 2 scores. William Doherty ran for a season-high 173 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, man. Doherty also hauled in a pass for 154 yards and another score. On the defensive side of the ball, Blake Landier, man, he led all tacklers. He had 10 total tackles this week. And game 3, we had CB East improve to 2-0 after battling Cheltenham to a 17-14 final. In the victory, junior Mike Price paced the Patriots backfield with 27 carries for 111 yards and 2 scores. Man, the defensive side of the ball, Patriots defensive end, Timmy Furmeister had himself a day. He had 9 total tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, which, by the way, school record, 3 sacks, and a caused fumble. And if you weren't there, OG, those in attendance witnessed what I would say is probably the catch of the year. Kendall Jackson hit Isaiah Upchurch for a toe-touching, sideline-grabbing first down, and woo! Man, what a catch. Dude, toe drag and everything. It was insane.
That's unbelievable. All right, let's go to the other side of town there with CB West. They defeated Upper Dublin 24-7 behind the arms and the legs of junior quarterback Luis Sapolo, who threw for a score and rushed for 2 more in the win. Neshaminy continues its hot streak after dismantling Council Rock North 41-0. They outscored their first 2 opponents 71-0. That's 2 shutouts. Senior quarterback Mike Eckhart threw for 233 and 4 scores. Carter Clee rushed for 130 yards and 1 score. Brock Williams hauled in 4 passes for 83 yards and 2 scores. The twin assassins, Nick and Mike Sassano, each hauled in a touchdown and combined for 96 receiving yards. That's one nice weekend for the family. Mike held the secondary down with 2 interceptions, and Corey Kenoy Webb led all tacklers with 6, while Owen Swartz had 2 sacks. The mighty North Penn Knights remained undefeated, narrowly escaping with a 21-14 win over the Council Rock South Hawks. Senior Matt Pownell rushed for 51 yards and had a receiving touchdown. Mason Franick hauled in 6 passes for 84 yards and another score, and Riley Gray scored on the go-ahead touchdown from 14 yards out with just 3 minutes left in the game.
Man, Capo Horsham remains winless after a loss to Westchester Henderson, 27-7. Quakertown defeated Pennsbury 14-7 behind a strong performance by Brady Martin. He completed 8 passes for 147 yards and 2 scores. Sophomore Marcus Baxter led all the tacklers with 10. And I also just found out before this recording, Pennsbury will be without star running back Jordan Brensinger due to an injury. So more to follow on that. later on this week. PW lost to 27-7 to Conrad Weiser. Springfield opened up their season with a 27-6 win over Philadelphia Public League team over Brook. The Nathan Torrealba era got started off right, as I predicted. The kid rushed 6 times for 82 yards, man. He completed 70% of his passes for 126 yards and a touchdown. Quite impressive, since I was told that they ran the ball the majority of the game because Overbrook just could not stop that rushing attack.
All right, moving on. Upper Moreland fell 27-7 to Westchester East. William Tennant was shut out by Methacton 30-0. And the Wissahickon Trojans, I said last week, getting on that Wiss bandwagon, dominated Upper Marion 52-28. Evan told me threw for 244 yards and 3 TDs. Dom Harvey Shepard led all rushers with 91 yards on just 5 carries, 2 of them going in for the score. Quasir Sampson tallied 75 yards and 2 TDs on 13 carries, and Xavier Johnson tallied 6 carries for 110 yards, while Quentin West caught 3 balls for 73 and 3 touchdowns. On the defensive side, Sampson also had a pick.
Nice. Yeah, definitely those Wissahickon Trojans are dominating their opponents. And finally, in my game of the week, Souderton defeated Central Buck South 19-7. Man, the Indians and Titans battled it out, but Souderton bested the Titans, coming up with the big plays when they needed it the most. Senior Ben Walsh, man, he threw for 154 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. Chase Hart had 2 of those receptions, one for 11 yards, one for 19 yards. And he had a bunch of plays on the defensive side of the ball. Every time the player was tackled, he was somewhere in the mix for stopping a player, man. And I will definitely say this: Souderton ain't playing around this year, folks. And I think they're feeling quite disrespected.
I get those feelings, Souderton. I totally understand them. Hey, so listen, we're going to call timeout for an emotional regulation moment here, because we're a little, sad for Souderton that they're a little bit respected, but 2-0 and on the go. Let's take a beat and hear a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we will get into where everyone is headed this week in our Week 3 schedule breakdown.
Every Suburban One insider knows that it's never too soon to build your legacy. Get started today at www.cdswealth.com.
Back, insiders. We are now going to look at where all the Suburban One games are going to be played at this week on our schedule breakdown. First matchup, we got Ben Salem heading to Abington, and we will have some insiders on hand with live updates before and during the game, so stay tuned for that. Plymouth Whitemarsh is heading to Interborough. Both teams 0-2 and looking for that first win. New Hope Soulberry, coming off an impressive win, is heading to Springfield Monco. We have Archbishop Carroll, who is 2-0, at Wissahickon, who is 2-0. I think that one's going to be a big one, man.
Yep.
William Tennant defending against Chichester, and Central Buck South looks to earn its first win of this young season when it heads to Upper Dublin, who is still also without a win.
All right. Other games around the league this weekend. Harry Truman heading up to Penridge Friday night, 7 o'clock. Cheltenham going into Chamonix. That's an interesting matchup. I know Cheltenham's 2-0, but that's going to be an interesting matchup. The Bucks are leaving Doylestown, heading over to Souderton, 7 p.m. on Friday night. Rock North is heading up to Buckingham to play CB East. Pensbury just going on a short trip up to Council Rock South. Hatboro Horsham playing Lansdale Catholic at North Penn High School at 1 o'clock on Saturday. And then Upper Moreland versus Lower Moreland. Battle of the Morelands, I guess you could say. That should be a good one as well.
Yep. And finally, in my game of the week, North Penn tries to stay undefeated as they travel to Quakertown, who just took care of business against a very stout Pensbury team. I will see everyone there Friday night with my intern, Julia Skarbowski, as we will both be bringing you all the action before and during the game. We will also be bringing everybody a gallery of this game from our own Trish Hoffman. So make sure you're following us on all our socials, here, there, everywhere. Alrighty, OG. Next up is my absolute favorite part of the show, man. Insiders, grab your thinking caps and listening ears because it's time for OG's history lesson.
Everybody, so on last week's show, we talked about a little bit of history with the PIAA and 6 classifications for football. We broke those down in our league, what schools or what classes, those kinds of things. Now we're going to dive into the league and the 3 conferences that make up the Suburban One League. So you have the National Conference, Abington, the 3 CBs, the Chamonix, North Penn, Penridge, and Pennsbury. The Continental, Bensalem, Cheltenham, the Rocks, Truman, Quakertown, Sourden, and Upper Dub. And then the American Conference is Hatboro and Horsham. Lower Moreland, New Hope, Salisbury, P-Dub, Springfield Township, Upper Moreland, William Tennant, and Wissahickon. So in that national conference, all 8 of those teams, they're 6A schools. In that Continental Conference, 6 of the 8 are 6A, but 2 of them, Cheltenham and Upper Dublin, they're 5A schools. And it gets a lot wonky in the American Conference. We've got Hatboro, that's a 5A, Lower Moreland, that's a 4A, New Hope, that's a 2A, P-Dub, 6A, Springfield Township, 4A, Upper Moreland, 5A, William Tennant, 6A, and Wissahickon, 5A. So you can see in that division, there's a lot of disparity. Also in that division, you have Lower Moreland and New Hope Salisbury. Both of them are what's considered like an associate member to our league. They are out of the league for a league championship. They will be playing some schools in the SOL over the course of this year, and they're going to do their best to regain that build-up and growing their programs. Like Lower Moreland is working on starting middle school football. They haven't had that before. New Hope Salisbury does not have middle school football. It's a very small school. So what they're trying to do is build those programs back up to where they need to be so they can play in the American Conference for 7 league games. That's probably not going to happen in the next 3 years, but both schools are working on trying to get things ready for 2028, 29, I believe it is. All right. So how is this all decided on? It's called a 2-year cycle when our team schedules are made, our school schedules are made. So as of right now, this is year 2 of the two-year schedule. And those divisions or those conferences are made up by size of the school, by some geography, and also some historical data, right? There may not be teams that are highly successful on the football field over the years, at least recent years. So there's some things done amongst the group of 24 ADs to try to balance the level of power. And you're going to see starting next year, it looks like, and I don't know if it's been voted on or not, but PW and Truman actually might be flipping conferences just for a bit of sustainability for the Truman program. And PW is doing a great job with theirs, so they're going to look to try to move forward with that. Now, in the history of the SOL, back in those years when I was in high school and then coaching, and even a little bit into the 2000s, they had what was called the Power 10 Conference, which was kind of like a conference inside of the conference, if you will. So you had the national conference teams that are currently there, except for CB South and CR South, because they weren't born yet until 2003, 2004. But you had OG, Council Rock, you had Bensalem, you had Truman as a 10-team, really, really robust Suburban One League division or conference. And then the others played in a separate group. But it is something that's really an interesting concept, right? To have the 10 best teams in one conference. Now, some people are going to be like, that's crazy. You're going to beat up each other every week. And who's really going to make it to the playoffs? Where other people look at it as say, let's spread the wealth a little bit You have some not easier games, but some lighter games on the schedule to make those decisions for your team. But back when you had the Power 10, that's when we had some state championships coming out of the Suburban One. And I'm not going to reveal who they are. You might want to start looking it up, all you insiders, because that might be a trivia question coming up. But here's the question. Who's going to be the next SOL team to win a state championship? Because I believe Cheltenham was the last team to make it a couple years ago when they lost to Wood in the 5A. But we're going to have to see. And we're going to talk about over the next couple weeks why it's an uphill battle for the SOL when you have to play what they now call those application schools, not those non-boundary schools, but those application schools that where you have to apply to go to that school, such as the St. Joe's and LaSalle's. So we're going to talk about that in the future, but I kind of wanted to tease that out a little bit because that's going to be some stuff that we're going to talk about over the next couple weeks.
Time out, OG. Time out. Time for a word from our sponsors. Then we'll get back to last week's picks and this week's prospects.
Want to see more of your game insiders? Check out the link galleries of DAHC images, photos by Tom, and Trisha Lynn photography by finding your power-packed action shots at www.suburbanoneinsider.com.
And we are back, insiders, ready for our weekly picks. Last week, OG and I chose 5 games at random, and frankly, I think we nailed it.
I agree.
Well, for starters, we both picked Penridge by a hair, who beat Ben Salem 36-33.
Hey, Mayhem, roll that footage from last week back. OG picked the Rams by 3, and that's what it was. That was a good money pick by me.
Yeah, you're right. In our second game, we couldn't agree, and I went for East, and you took Cheltenham. East won 17-14. So you got that one wrong, OG.
Yeah, you lose some of the time. Not all the time, though. All right, up next, we had Springfield Township defeating Overbrook big time, and they walked away victors 27-6. Then we chose Wissahickon over Upper Marion. And again, we both picked Wiss. Told you that Trojan bandwagon, and they won 52-28. Our final pick, Mayhem, was Quakertown over Pennsbury. We, too, got that one right, 14-7.
Looks like I went 5-0, and OG went 4-1.
Not a bad week. So let's see what we could do with this week's games. We should go with CB West and Souderton to start it off. I'm going to say the Big Red are going to win this game, but it is a payback game for West after last year's loss. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man. Souderton is on a hot streak, man. I'm thinking Souderton too because it is a home game, but I do agree it is a payback game for West after losing last season. But Souderton, I think, has the advantage here.
All right, next, Ben Salem at Abington. I'm going to pick the Owls. They are for real with their athletes, and they got a big offensive line. Their running back quarterback tandem is going to make waves in the SOL. Watch out for them all season.
I think I'm going Abington, man. Miles Yakis and Aiden turning on the offense. Woo! This Abington team is something different, OG.
I believe it. All right, let's go with CB South at Upper Dublin. What do you think?
I think let's go CB South gets their first dub of the 2025 season.
All right, I'm pulling out the flag on this one. No, nothing against CB South, but I think the Flying Cardinals are going to win this game at home. I think it's going to be extremely close, but I think Upper Dublin's going to pull it out with their crazy fans.
All right. I see you. All right. Oh, let's see. Ooh, you know what? I think our last game, I think I'm going to get some slack on the sidelines here for whoever I select. But let's go North Penn at Quakertown. OG, I think it's going to be close, but North Penn's going to stay undefeated.
I think North Penn kind of snuck away with one last week. I heard a touchdown was called back late in the game. This is a game with two successful coaches. I'm going to give the Knights the edge, but I'm going to say it's going to be by 10.
All right, man. 10 points seems fair. I agree. Well, that's it for this week, Insiders. Another week down, another week on the horizon. Until we're under the Friday night lights again, I'm Coach Mayhem.
And I'm OG. Insiders out.